So here it is, Friday. You've already seen last week's show, but now you're seeing this week's show. And recording of still images impossible. I don't know what that means, but that's what it just told me on the screen. Recording of still images impossible. Well, let's just push that little button right there, and that should get rid of it. I'm assuming this is still recording. Yes, it is. What we've been doing. Well, a lot of you have asked in the past, Steve, what are the colors of the Enterprise? And I was about to show you, in fact, how I mixed that paint, and here it is. And what I used is, what I was starting to say, I was going to show you, and then I had problems with the camera, of course. This is white testers, right? I used 2 of these. This is acrylic. Okay, and over here we've got a whole package of light gross gray, which by itself looks like the right color, but when it dries it's much darker. So this is the mix I use. This came closest to the cards that document what the colors of the Enterprise are without driving yourself crazy. That is to say that close enough is good enough for me. Here you can see that I've actually painted it with those colors, and they match exactly the Enterprise in my studio. And if you think that looks just like gray primer, look, there's gray primer that I used on it right next to it. You can clearly see the difference. So this is, in fact, the correct color. She is sort of a battleship gray, and because those guys who designed this, Matt Jeffries, you know, they served in World War II. They're in the military, and have you ever seen a battleship or an aircraft carrier? They're gray, and that's why it was painted gray, to my knowledge. So this is now ready to actually make some rooms, which I'm going to make out of foam core, and then paint the right color gray, mount them into the backs here, and put some lights in and see how that looks. We're going to start doing that. Also, I got my wire, 1,000 feet of this stuff, thanks to Randy Newbert, who told me, and his wonderful wife, who told me about it. And of course, these are the domes, which I got from Kitcraft. The outside domes, the inside domes, and all the small domes too we have to go on hers. Those arrived. I still have some Evercoat coming, and thanks to Max, Commander Max, he had some of the engines that are no longer available that are in my Enterprise that need to go in this one. But let's get these, let's get a room built in here and light it up. So, here's the beginning of the rooms. And this is the ceiling, which we never saw the ceiling, so you can see what that is. This goes in like this, okay? And we're gonna do this pretty much all throughout the ship, and that lights it up. And as soon as I just temporarily glue this down, because we've got to put people in there, and we got to put some details in there as well in the rooms to add chairs, seats, beds, whatever. We're going to put some details in there like that. Now here's the Enterprise lit up. One room was built, okay? This is glowing because there's, not sure why, oh, because you can see the top of the ceiling of the other room. But you'll notice clearly that they're lit up. Even with all these lights on and that, you can see. So this is really good because this is how it's going to be in a museum. Now you see as I move how you get some dimension in there. You can even see a wall. It's just not all evenly lit. It's lit like there is somebody in there. And here we are with the lights off. You can see how cool this is really looking, how well that lit up. Even the little registries numbers down here in the corner are lit up if the camera would focus, which it doesn't want to do, but they are lit up as well. You can see the light leaks I have to fill. None of that's a problem. And then there's all the armor that has to go on this model still. You know, there's a lot of armor, that plating that has to go on there still. That was the first one I did, remember that. So it's looking so cool. It really is. I'm really pleased. The runway lights are showing up good. So that's gonna do it for this Friday. And of course, we'll be back after the submarine regatta, and we're gonna have some of that to show you, but that'll be a special report. So we'll be back on Monday to keep on with day 2. So we had a great time at the submarine regatta, and it was really, really fun. And here it is Monday, we're back at the studio, and I had a leak. I talked about that. I had a leak in the Nautilus. And funny enough, I can't find it. It doesn't exist. In fact, this has been pressurized now for well over an hour. That is, through this valve here, I put in a lot of air pressure. I've plugged up the bladder so there can be no leakage there. And, you know, an hour later, I think you could hear that. That was air pressure coming out, just like a tire. There is no way there's a leak in there. It's a huge mystery. I've checked the bladders, I've checked everything, there's no leak. So as best I can figure, this is what happened. I was in a hurry to get it back in the water, run it again. I had this open because I did find a little bit of water in there. I don't know how or why, but I did. I found a little bit of water in there. So my theory is that I did this. And when you do that, and it's not closed all the way, or maybe I didn't close it at all, this was on there, but what happens is you leak. So, because I did do that experiment, just putting it on barely, not pressed down all the way, and yes sir, bub, I leaked. But I can find no leak in this entire system. This whole thing checks out perfectly. Everything is operating perfectly. There are no problems found, no leaks anywhere. So this is going to go back in its shelf, and next time we'll run it again, and I'm going to take, you know, really watch it closely. But I cannot find the leak. It's not there. It will not hold air pressure for an hour. It probably hold air pressure for the next 2 days. And when I push that valve, it'll go tss every time, which means if the air's not getting out, the water certainly isn't getting in. Mysteries, phantoms. But we had a great time, and of course the other boat ran just terrific, but unfortunately I don't have a big enough battery in it, so I need to put a larger battery in it, because by the time I got all its little bugs worked out and got to a point where I could take it out and run it and really give it a good dive, the batteries went. So, but we had a great time. So now we're going to move on to other things here today on this Monday. So we're doing something a little different today. I designed this on Sunday, did a quick sketch in Photoshop, and you can see it's called the SNG Sloper. This is a 2-channel, rudder and elevator only slope soarer made for backpacking. Now this is going to be made out of Dollar Tree foam board. I've done this a long time ago. It's become quite the fad these days, people doing this, but we started doing this way back when, in the 90s, when you had to buy your foam board at Aaron Brothers and try to get the paper off it, which was very difficult. With this new stuff from the Dollar Tree, which is $1, you can build this entire glider, put it on your backpack, go hiking. If you find a cliff or a slope where you got good lift, you can chuck this off and fly it till the battery runs out. That's the idea. So I did this, and of course I made some big plans over here, which I had to tape together to work, but you get the idea. What I've been doing is I've been cutting parts. This is, well, in 4 hours I got quite a lot done. This is the template for the wing. It's basically doubled so that I can fold it out. You can fold it out like so you can get this. And this is the foam board. Now the first thing I'm going to do is peel this paper off. We used, like I said, we used to have to soak this stuff, and even then you couldn't get it off very easily. Now, I learned all this from a very talented gentleman on Experimental Airlines on YouTube. You can look him up. He's got a lot of great stuff. Now, I've known about working in foam board, and I've known about working with Dapron, but I never knew that you could get this stuff from the Dollar Tree and just peel this stuff off so easily. I mean, it really is quite amazing. Now, what he was doing was cutting off, I think you can just peel off the whole thing, but he was peeling off, and I'm going to leave a little bit extra here. Now, like that, for the foam board. I'm going to slightly score that. What he did, then you can just peel this stuff right off. I mean, it comes off pretty darn easy. I mean, it never was like this when I was first starting this stuff in the old days. Look at that. Clean as a whistle, it's off. And now this has become a lot more pliable because this is Dapron foam underneath. Next step, of course, was to put this on the very edge like this and put a straight edge over it. I have a frame. No, I seem not to be. What he did, and it works really well, is you put this down like so, and I learned that if you extend it a little over the edge, you account for the fold itself. Because when I fold this, it's going to come here short, so I want to account for that just a wee bit, like so. This is really fun. I mean, you can build everything from a B-51 Mustang to any kind of plane, even the Bell X-1 this way, with a little bit of, which would make a neat slope soarer. I think you'll all agree. And, I mean, you can make anything slope. You can make jets without a jet engine and just toss it off the hill and use the natural lift to do it. So, okay, assuming I'm in here, I'm going to fold this over, like so. Against the straight edge, the idea. And over, and you'll get an airfoil additionally doing it this way, which is really cool. Here's the wing. Because it's folded, it has a spar in it, a spruce spar in it, you've got a bit of an airfoil. Not too thick, just enough to give it some good lift, flat bottom, and you know, an okay leading edge. It's not as sharp as I'd like it to be. I suppose I could add a piece of balsa to that and sharpen it a bit. I may. To this bevel, I can close this side opening up. And again, I'm just going to use a lot of, you can't see it because the cord's short. Put this hot glue on here, that's all. And I got hot glue on there. Now I'm going to fold this and push it as far this way as I can. Like so, like so, like so, and then I'm going to put something like this on top of it and keep pushing. So there you go. I didn't show you a lot of what I was doing when I built this, but you got to see some of it. And I mean, this is all, you know, foam core, well, foam board. We used to call it foam core. I've already hinged some of the surfaces, so we have our up and down and our right and left. I built a styrene wing saddle that goes on the side there to stiffen up the sides a bit. It's actually very straight. You got the beginnings of course, the nose cone or the nose on it. But what I need to do now to make this glider really super cool before I start actually painting it, finalizing it, I have servos on order that will come in pretty soon that are metal geared, really small servos. They're going to fit back here in order to accommodate the CG and the battery. This is going to be the receiver. This is going to be the battery, which will give us ample power to fly this for oh, 3-4 hours, maybe even more. And you're going to see this fly too, but I found a slope site that's just perfect to test this on. Not super high lift, but really good spot, nice recovery area. And Mary and I will go up there and we'll show you how this works. But what I need is a canopy, and to get the canopy, and you can see over here what the canopy sort of looks like. I'm going to take balsa wood just so I get something quickly, and I've stacked it since I couldn't locally get solid balsa. I'm going to stack this, putting most of the glue towards the center so that when I'm sanding it I don't get ridge lines. And we're going to fit this. This fits into here, and we're going to sand and shape and make our vacuum form a canopy, which will actually get done today. As you can see, I have a very good fit here. And now what I need to do is mark this. I need to have some overhang here, so I'm going to do this up to here. And I'm just going to kind of start here and give myself a curve here, line to follow. Then I'm going to take it from the front and mark this. So I have a line there. I'm going to take it from here, and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Now I know what I need to trim off. The next thing to do is take sandpaper to this. So I've taken this hard block of wood. I had to add a piece back here too, which I'm going to sort of teardrop off in that direction. But bit by bit, I'm taking this block and sanding it to contour to the model. And I was doing a lot of it just outside to keep the dust off of me, but I'm going to do it here so I can actually do it to the model, which makes more sense. And this is pretty soft balsa wood, not too soft, just right. Got from Ventura Hobbies. And I'm just sanding this down until it looks like a canopy, and we can stick this underneath the vacuum form machine and make a canopy. That's how we do this. I should take the wing off, but I won't because I'm stubborn. So that's getting there bit by bit. I got a little bit too much on this side, which I need to take down, but it's getting there. And the idea is just keep doing this and doing this. And then the nice thing about balsa is that you can get it so smooth, and it's a fast way to get apart from the vacuum form machine. It takes a while, but we're getting something that looks a lot more like a canopy than it did a few minutes ago. This doesn't take really a long time to do. And I'm really surprised that more people make model airplanes, don't vacuum form their own parts and make their own forms and stuff, because it's really a lot of fun, and it's something you can be proud of, because where'd you get that canopy from? Oh, I made it myself. But, it's not that hard. I mean, you can, you see what I'm doing here. This is going to turn into a nice piece once it's done. I still need to get this step down even to that. Now I'm worried about gouging the foam, so I'm probably going to end up putting some tape there, which then I can just wail on it, and I won't hurt it. So I'm going to do that next. But this is how it will come off and on to get to the battery. It will be clear and it will be tinted. So there we go. We got a little nice canopy form, which I'm real happy with. It's pretty good. To really make this perfectly glassy smooth, of course you would pull a mold on this, make it out of a harder material, and sand it down, getting rid of all the wood grain and stuff. But for doing a quick job, this works really good. It's nice and contoured. It matches the rest of the shape. I I took some 400 grit sandpaper to it. It's a little oversized, but one thing I've always noticed about when you're vacuum forming is it kind of has a tendency to shrink in on the sides. So having oversized like this means it'll drop over the side, which is really nice. It comes off and on just beautifully, just like it should. It's made to fit it. So now I've mounted this on some wood here, so it'll go flat to the vacuum form table and raises it up a bit. When this vacuum form pulls down, I'll be able to see these lines rather well. Pardon me. Rather well, and know exactly where to cut. I mean, this is very loose. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, as you'll see. And I'm going to go ahead and vacuum form this now. Well, it's shout out time. This is the time during our show when I give shout outs to friends that have projects, crowdfunding projects, things like the Museum of Science Fiction. You want to go to museumofsciencefiction.org. It's not the museumofsciencefiction.org, and that is the museum that is going to have a science fiction museum in Washington, D.C. like no other. That is what we're building the big enterprise for currently, and we're going to be doing some other things for the museum too, like a captain's chair and probably a big 6-foot eagle. That's right. More on that later. I wanted to give a shout out also for Enterprise in Space. Don't forget that project, and that's one that I'm part of as well, which is really, really cool. Also, and over here is my friend Manuel, who wrote this book called Space Attack. He gave me a copy of this when I was going through all that with Jilly as sort of a get well gift. It's a great book, and he's having it remastered, and he's got a GoFundMe campaign, and you can see the link down below. You can go and help him get this book remastered and published. Then you'd be helping me, because I like to help my friends, and you can read up all about it here. And please give it a close look and see if you can't help them out. Also, let's not forget about SNG, and of course you can donate to this building of this enterprise to go in the museum and get your name on a plaque, which is being made. And if you donate more than $100, you will also get a little figure of yourself. If you send us a high-resolution photograph of yourself in uniform, you'll get that placed on the bridge as you see me working on in this video. So you can do that, and there will be a cutoff date in June. June 1st, Mary says, and there will be a cutoff. Now that doesn't mean you can't still contribute to having this model built, but that will be the end of putting people on the plaque at that point, because Rusty's got to make the plaque and he needs to know a time to cut off. So we'll be starting a new campaign for building a captain's chair, and you will see exactly how the captain's chair was built long ago using the plans that I have, the parts that I have, and kind of going through it the way they did when they built it so many years ago. But that's coming up later. So that's the end of our shout out segment. Please support the people and causes that we have talked about here. As you can clearly see, my vacuum form material is about to sag so far that I won't be able to use it, so we're very quickly Unfortunately, just as I was about to pull this, I noticed there was a couple of nicks in this, and I had to quickly sand it out so as not to lose the plastic, which is still quite hot. As you can see, that's vacuum formed rather well. We have a canopy. So we got a little canopy in here, and what I'm doing to it is I put some smoked tint on it, which didn't come out that great, but I wanted to just tint it because if you look through it, you're not going to see a pilot. You're going to see all kinds of servos and things like that. So I put some of the tint in there. That's looking pretty good, and that will go on that. Over here, it's hodgepodge week again. You'll see this massive bunch of wire I got. I might have talked about it before, 1,000 feet. Thanks to Randy Newbert for telling me about this. I got this from Jamco, or Jamesco. Of course, I forgot my Evercoat metal glaze, which is, if you guys are using Bondo to fill and smooth holes like this one, you're using the wrong thing. This is the stuff to use. So the stuff sands easier, it's actually stronger, it's just a much better material to work with, and so you don't have to ask. There it is, a freeze frame of that. That's what you want to get. I ordered it online. I used to pick it up at a local place. They don't have it anymore. Just ordered online, I had it in a couple days. And I think I got that on Amazon. So that's really, really cool. Much of today, which is, what is it now? Tuesday, was spent going and getting my passport. Yes, getting my passport. It seems people want me to appear at conventions. A certain convention in particular called Volcon in Calgary, Canada. I've been needing to get my passport renewed anyway, but this got me off my butt. So that took much of this morning, then some materials hunting, and by the time I got back here, we have a community art function to go to tonight. It's actually a meeting of artists up here in Ventura who we're trying to connect with, and are doing a pretty good job so far. So that took up much of the day, which is why I just putz with the glider a bit more. But tomorrow, we're going back to that, and we're going to put in more rooms and stuff. And yes, Elliot, I know about the problems with the nacelle, and you know what? They're not going to go back on here until I'm done with everything else. And then when I get them back on here, they're going to get glued down permanently and at the right angles, and then I'm going to walk away. So here we are with our Dollar Tree foam glider, which I will be covering with packing tape, adding some balsa to the leading edges of the tail feathers and some wingtips over here, and we're going to put some tissue and white glue on this, and the rest of it all gets taped to waterproof it. Also gives extra strength, but you know, this took one sheet of Dollar Tree foam board to make, and some vacuum form plastic. Back from the dentist. I feel great. It's Wednesday, and we're back to work on the big girl. And what I want to do, before I go any further, because I'm going to be putting all these rooms in, is I want to make sure that the 2 rooms I did, once I properly color them inside, add some little stick figures and some sort of furniture stuff, that it looks good. Once I know that, then I can set it in stone and keep moving on with it all. And just keep building and building and building and painting the right hull colors on everything and preening and get everything just perfect and slowly assembling it, painting it, and putting it together. The last thing we're going to do is put those nacelles back in and permanently root them so they hold their correct angles. Not just level to the fuselage, but so they're not doing this either, towing in, which they were doing a bit. And Elliot, you were very clever to catch that, because I knew that was a problem. I have it with this one too. And for some reason, it just doesn't show. And it looks fine. So the measurements say they're towing in. The eye says it doesn't. This is always going to be a problem with stuff like this. But because this is going in the museum, I'm going to get them parallel in that on that coordinate, as well as the X, Y, and Z. So we'll be addressing that later. But right now, I'm starting with the engineering section, getting the rooms in there, the lights in there, the hull colors painted on right, it correctly locked together, a lot of the electronics in there, and then I'm going to do the hangar bay and come up with some way of making the hangar bay open and close. So it's going to go slow, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm sure you all agree. What I'm doing now is I'm about to go into Photoshop. And before I do, I've been making dimensions off the room I just did, and I'm over here doing a drawing that will give me my walls, and I'm going to scan this, drop it into Photoshop, and then looking at all the information I have on the internet, I'm going to be making up some Photoshop walls, doors, and that kind of thing, and then print them out, cut them out, glue them to the insides of the rooms that I've made, paint the floors darker so that where they are already dark, have that indoor-outdoor carpet they use look. Then I'm going to investigate doing some furniture this way too, just out of hard paper stock and sticking it in there. So this is going to be a slow go, but very interesting, and well, let's get on with it. So here I got a basic sketch with the fold points and some of the details, replicators, the doors, the orange doors, some kind of shelving, a screen here, another replicator in this room, because this room is divided here. This is one room, this is another room. These are the walls that fold. This gets cut out to accommodate the separation there. What I'm going to do now is scan this in the Epson and then drag it into Photoshop and make this a nice graphic with the right colors and the orange doors and all that, and print it off and cut it up and fold it and fit it into our room and see how it looks. Okay, so I've scanned and I've traced over many layers and added familiar things like replicators, our famous orange-red doors, a few view screens, some kind of shelves. This is the divider, the section between the rooms, and those sort of shiny metal stripes that they have. This should be enough to give us our walls going, and we're going to get these placed in, and then we're going to look into doing the furniture, do some furniture. And there we go. When you compare it with the original drawing I did that I traced over, this looks pretty good. And I even put in the comms there. They're real small, and I forgot to put one over here, but it's good for now. It looks great. I mean, it's so tiny that my eyes don't resolve it. Yours may do better, but everything's there. I know the camera will do better. So we're going to cut this out and put it in. I can't wait to see how this looks. Okay, I've duplicated a whole bunch of stuff here. We have these interesting tables that I'm copying here. You can see the legs there, you can see the table tops, and you can see the chairs, which are an illusion. You either see them from the front or you see them from the back. Until Ken prints me up some of this stuff, I'm going to be using this stuff and giving the illusion, because really it is hard to see inside those windows. At this resolution, I mean, it's, these are the actual size here. And it's amazing, I'm only at 300 DPI, but when I zoom in, you start to see things that make sense, like this here, and it's kind of cool. Here's our chairs, so it's pretty neat. I'm gonna print this out. File, print. This is an old version of Photoshop on my older tower down here, which it still works fine. There we go, and the pieces are falling off my printer. Actually, those chairs are fairly visible, so hopefully I should be able to cut these out and put them in. In fact, I'm going to do a few right now because I can't wait. This is getting really kind of interesting and cool. Luckily, with this and that and some good light, I'm able to put things together like that table, and I've been able to cut out those chairs and put them in there. And I mean, when we look through the window and we see this level of detail inside through the windows, which is kind of hard. You'll see in a minute when I put it all in there, but this is actually working, and I was actually able to glue these legs on. This is a table actually really is going to work. So I can take this and kind of poke it like that and get some glue on the legs here in a second. A little hard to deal with, but not too bad. I should probably go upstairs and get my tweezers. It would make more sense. But ooh, put a hole in it. That works. I will just stick some glue on it, like just a little tiny bit right there. And of course, I totally forgot to put the carpets in, so I'm gonna have to paint around this. Unfortunately, it was done with me. I was in such an enthusiastic hurry, but I should be able to just drop that table down there, and I've got a table. I bent that leg a little bit. That shouldn't be too much of a problem to straighten that out. And sure enough, It's a little off, but I've got a table. So, of course, putting it at that angle, I really can't see the legs that I designed so carefully. So I'm going to remove this, like so. Put that upside down there. Straighten that leg out a bit. It's pretty strong. You'd be amazed. I'm going to remove this chair here. Unfortunately, it kind of disintegrated on me there. They're really, really hard to deal with. And I know, Elliot, you could have done all this in brass for me, and you know, I just didn't think about that. You do so much for us here at SNG. But I was able to get that off. God, I mean, we're talking delicate. What I'm going to do is go in here and put the carpets in, bit by bit, little bits and bits more. It's starting to look pretty neat. Just getting those tables in there. The tables look great. They really do, because they're just thick paper. And the chairs, I'm going to do some more chairs. Some are facing, some are turned away from you, but it's a good illusion. It worked. So I quickly found an internet image of TOS Star Trek characters, and just to show you how small they are, I'm going to back away. These are approximately the same right size. The resolution is terrible, but it should allow me to see how they look in here once we backlight this with our lighting in a minute. I just want to do a test, because what I plan to do is take a picture of myself and in uniform against green screen at very high resolution and shrink it down to this size. You should be able to see a lot of detail in it still. And this might actually be a better route to go than 3D printing, because you could send me your picture in your uniform and I can shrink it down as long as the resolution's high enough. And you know, it's not 3D, but looking through the windows, you're facing forward, it's going to look like you. And here it is at a distance, and you can still really make out that guy standing in the window there. And you can, when you move by it, you get the sense that there is rooms in there. It's really, 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 really neat. Rosie, Rosie, Rosie. Where's Uncle Ted? Uncle Ted?
Hi, big girl. Hi, big girl.
Uncle Ted is here.
Everybody out there in
he came to visit, and I put him to work because I'm just a slave driver. Yes. But he's been cutting out the windows on the other side, which I've been trying to get to, and Rosie's very happy.
Oh, Rosie's here.
All right, what have we started? Okay, Rosie. Okay, calm down. Good girl. Where's your ball? Go find your ball. Go find the ball. Go find the ball. It's over there. Anyway, he's been working.
Look, Uncle Ted's on the ship.
Yeah, he's on the ship. He's been cutting out the windows, and he's done all this today, and he's done a good darn job too. It's not easy to do this, and I told you guys that I would clean up the windows, and I think I just showed you before I shot this that I was using the technique with the brass and also wood to square them up and to get the edges cleaner on them, get rid of the original scribes, which it pretty much did. I still have some dirt to clean out of them and stuff, but they're a lot cleaner than they were. But you know, this is not an injection molded model from Revell, so there are limits to just how clean you can get them. But we're going to do the very best we can. You can see that the top windows up of the neck have been done as well, and they're looking really nice, and they're consistently all the correct sizes. They're thinner on that part of the neck, they're thicker there. You know, I get the feeling that pretty much from what I've read when they were making this model that you know, some of the windows were supposed to be the same size. They got a little bigger, they went with it. So you know, this is the kind of thing we're up against. She's really stripped away right now, but God, Ted, thanks for coming today. And
yeah, good to see you all out in SNG land.
Yeah, he's going to be back. he's gonna bring his stuff to work on, which is what he was supposed to do today.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and Rosie's just real happy. So anyway, so he's working on these, getting them all cleaned up, and then of course the same technique will be done to these to square them up. And we were able to get them a little thinner from the back, Mr. Elliott Brown, but I got to be careful and not get them too thin because this material is not as strong as epoxy when it gets really, really thin, but they're a lot thinner now. The little pieces that you see are bits of Evercoat that have to be removed from the back. But this is looking really nice, so I'm pleased with it. So Ted, thanks so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure.
I really appreciate you coming up here. We'll hope to see lots more of you. That's going to end our show for today, and we'll see you guys again next week, probably with Uncle Ted, because Uncle Ted's going to be in our movie. Isn't that right? That's right.
That's right.
Okay.
So buy tickets now.
That's it. So, see you next week.
We'll see you in Netland.